and welcome to Make It Make Sense. In this show, we'll be talking about black culture, consciousness, style, art, history, fashion, love, and politics. It's all about how we move and how we feel. The purpose of Make It Make Sense is to enhance our self-concept, our self-worth, and the community at large. So join us every Monday at 12 o'clock noon for an inspirational hour of growth, development, and spiritual enhancement. Hey, happy Monday. Welcome back to Make It Make Sense. This is your boy Emanuell Lewis coming to you on this holiday. I want to say first, happy Memorial Day to everybody. We want to thank those for their service who have given from all of the Navy, Army, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guards, all of that. All of that. We want to say thank you for your service if you're doing good service. We also, for me, Memorial Day is more like remembering my ancestors for me personally. I kind of remember. I think about my dad, went on. I think about my aunts and uncles who have passed. People in my life who have made a huge difference in my life, personal, professionally, spiritually, morally. And I also think about honoring the people who are still here today. Here at Make It Make Sense, the one thing we love to talk about, and it's why this whole show was built, is built on the back of what we call Black consciousness, and we actually call it Black Consciousness 2.0. So why do we call it that? Because it's a way for us to remember who we are. Black consciousness doesn't have anything to do with hating anybody else. It has everything to do with loving ourselves and loving who we are as a people. It has a lot to do with grassroots involvement, love of community, love of self, love of your people, your circle of influence, all of that. It has a lot to do with all of that. So that's what Black consciousness is. But we call it Black Consciousness 2.0 because we also wanted to add a spiritual element to it because we want to include God in everything that we do. And I think that's important because it gives us direction, it gives us strategy for our life, and it gives us protection as well. So that's always important when you're talking about making it make sense. Part of making it make sense is dealing with the whole body, mind, body, spirit. And one thing we have to understand is that we are not humans having spiritual experiences. We are first spirit. And we were put into a body. So we're spirits first and humans second. So we like to pay a lot of close attention to those spiritual elements of our lives that help us get through tough times, tough times with family, any tough times whether you're going to school, having a tough time at work, all of those things. We also want to give our condolences to everybody's OG, Bobby Eaton. Him and his family lost their father. They lost the patriarch of their family about a week or so ago. So we want to give big OG Bobby Eaton love. We want to give him our fondest condolences. I know that the family is still working through the process, but it's a day-to-day process. How do you beat it? By waking up the next morning and doing something great and doing something positive. First for yourself and then for everyone else. So that's how we do it on Make It Make Sense. So I think it's kind of intuitive that all this is happening on Memorial Day today. because on these days, as I said a moment ago, this is when I think about the people in my life who have had influence, who have had a great influence over my life. You know, my dad, from a spiritual perspective, Carlton Pearson, Bishop Carlton Pearson, Bishop W. Jeffries. I think about instructors actually that had a big moment in my life. I think about Dr. Charles Butler out of the University of Oklahoma, who helped me get the degree. He opened the degree African and African American Studies years ago, and I was able to help him in that enterprise. We did grants together. We did a lot of things together, and I was the first to graduate with the degree of African and African American Studies out of University of Oklahoma, and that was in '95, I believe. You know, as you get older, you kind of forget the exact year things happened, but so I think about people like that, and then again, I think about people who are currently influences in my life. You know, my friendship group, and all of that. So that's how we make it make sense. So on today, we got an interesting topic to talk about, being that it is Memorial Day today. And I gotta go to commercial real quick, but I'm gonna make a statement, and y'all ain't gonna even believe the statement I'm gonna make today. They're gonna be like, what is he talking about? Here's my statement to keep you online till we get back. I feel like Donald Trump. I feel like Donald Trump. So as soon as we take a quick commercial break, we're going to get into why I feel like Donald Trump.
Tulsa, your voice matters. And on KBOB 89.9 FM, your stories are heard loud and clear. From community issues to culture, music, and real-life conversations, this is where we come together. Be part of something bigger. Tune in to KBOB 89.9 FM, Tulsa's voice, by the people, for the people.
Family and Children's Services and Morton Health Services are excited to announce our new location at 240 East Apache is now open. We're bringing mental and medical health services together all under one roof. We can help with transportation to the clinic and with center care enrollment. Offices are open from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and walk-ins are welcome. So come by in person or call to make an appointment at 918-587-9471. Your next step is to be here.
This is KBOB 89.9 FM, Tulsa. And now streaming 24/7 live from the Eden Media Studio. 24/7 live at KBOB899.com. The Juice Radio Show and KBOB 89.9 would like to say thank you to all of our listeners and sponsors who donate to help keep our media program alive, reaching the community. The Juice Radio Network continues to expand as influencers in the community of North Tulsa and beyond, but can't do that without your help. That's why it's important that we as a community continue to support the Juice Radio Show and keep 89.9 on the air. The community not only deserves this service, but needs this service. Let's continue to support the mission and giving a voice to the voiceless and donate to the Juice Radio Show. The Juice Radio Show is a nonprofit 501c3 powered by KBOB 89.9 and Eden Media Services, operating solely off the gifts, donations, and contributions made by listeners like yourself. All donations made to the Juice Radio Show are tax deductible and can be sent to 1216 North Lansing Avenue, Suite D, Tulsa, Oklahoma 74106.
It's Tulsa, Tulsa. I see you here in Tulsa. I'm in Tulsa chilling.
We appreciate your continued support and thanks for listening to KBOB 89.9 FM. This is KBOB 89.9 FM, Tulsa. And now streaming 24/7 live from the Eden Media Studio. 24/7 live at KBOB899.com.
Hey, welcome back to Make It Make Sense, where today we're going to do our best to make it make sense. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, please call down here to Eden Media Studios at 918-856-3873. That's 918-856-3873. So, back to talking about Memorial Day and celebration. And I made a statement before I got off here a moment ago. I said, I feel like Donald Trump. I really do. When you understand historical perspectives of things, you'll understand why I make that statement. Now, the reason why I made it is because this. We know the current president has a lot of one-liners. Most of them crazy. But he got one-liner that I agree with, and it's this. He said, "We made everything." He was talking about America. He said, "We made everything." And when I take that statement, I take it towards my ancestors. I say, you know what? We made everything. Even from a position of not having any physical power back in the day, because you always have spiritual power. So for us not having any real physical power or any pull from the time our ancestors landed, but we made everything, and I tell you why. I bet you didn't know that African Americans created Memorial Day. Oh, y'all stop playing. Y'all didn't know that. Y'all start acting like y'all knew that. Y'all did not know that. And I'm saying it with my chest. Matter of fact, let me sit up in my chair and say that one more time. Say it again. We invented Memorial Day. Now, if you don't believe me, call in and I'll give you the information, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Let me give you a little background first, because you have to I got to give you a foundation. Memorial Day actually started in the 1860s, right? So it was after the Civil War, but it didn't officially become a national holiday until 1971, where it was recognized as a federal holiday. That was in 1970. We've always kind of celebrated it in a way. It's always the last Monday in May, and it dates back to the 1800s, to the 1860s. And we used to just call it a celebration, as we do many holidays. It was just meant, and actually, Memorial Day is actually, I know we get out there and barbecue, and I'm telling you, get out there and barbecue, because I might put something on my grill too. Mm-hmm. But it's really meant to be more of a somber day to honor those who have passed and went on before us. But the first actual Memorial Day happened in 1865 in Charleston, South Carolina. 1865 in Charleston, Carolina. It was to honor 257 dead Union soldiers that were buried in a mass grave in a Confederate prison camp. Now, those of us who are from Tulsa and know Tulsa history, or maybe even from Oklahoma, because I'm not from Oklahoma City, but those of us that move and live in Tulsa, we know about mass graves, because that happened in the Black Wall Street Massacre. But the origins of Memorial Day started in South Carolina in 1965, and it was to commemorate these soldiers. And it's actually considered the first commemoration ever for soldiers or anybody. But what happened is these soldiers, as I said, were buried in a mass grave by the Confederate. And after the war was over, what happened is 28 black slaves came and they memorialized those soldiers. What they did is They opened up the mass grave, and they gave each one of them a proper burial inside inside of that camp, and that was actually considered the first Memorial Day commemoration. Group of 28 former, or actually they were formerly enslaved Black Americans in South Carolina. They organized what's considered the first known Memorial Day or commemoration. They reburied the Union soldiers when they died in the Confederate camp, and they built them a proper grave site. And they held a large processional to honor the dead. Now remember, this was done by 28 Black soldiers. The observance came in thousands, and here's the thing to understand about it. When they first did it, it was a tribute to those, of course, their fault. And over time, by 1868, they start calling it Memorial Day. But what happened is, once they did that and they commemorated them that first year, the next year they came, Black soldiers and white soldiers and others. There was about 7,000 of them came to commemorate those soldiers that died in that camp. So that's actually where Memorial Day came from. That's how it started. So when I say I feel like Donald Trump, I'm trying to tell y'all we invented everything. So you got to understand, and then as it started becoming Memorial Day in 1865, we celebrated every year, and then we made it a federal holiday in 1971. So then that's where we got the actual Memorial Day from. So Memorial Day came out of a grassroots professional of 28 Black soldiers wanting to commemorate the soldiers that died. They said, quote, that these soldiers died in their behalf, and that's why they want to commemorate them. So I think that's interesting, because I can guarantee you probably about 97% of Americans don't know this story. Maybe 98 don't know this story. So it's important. One of the important things of this show is to make it make sense. Now, when you get older, when you're younger, you get a little body of knowledge, and then you have to add your experience in. Because one thing I always wondered, even as a youngster, when they used to give us history, and I used to wonder where I was looking for me in the history. Now, I didn't know how to communicate that. I just know when they talked about George Washington and everybody and crossing the Delaware River to get us, freedom, and Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. And so my initial thought of history was really how these white guys really took it upon themselves to get us out of slavery. I'm thinking Abraham Lincoln had a conviction. And he said, okay, well, let's let them free. But it really wasn't like that. It was really so that they could expand, so that the North can expand business more to the South. You understand that? Because slavery is free labor. Meaning you don't have to pay people to do it. So in order to expand business, you can't compete with a free labor market where all the labor is free, as opposed to you paying people. So there's a lot that we have to understand about history and why things were done. Irregardless of that, it happened. Plus, there was a lot of pressure being put on by actually freed African American people that were putting pressure to free the slaves even then. But see, that's the part of the history that's not really told. So the let me go back here for a moment. Okay, so where I want to talk about where the soldiers were buried. The soldiers were buried in an open air Confederate prison located at the Washington Race Course and Jockey Club. This is where they set up a fort actually during the Civil War. So they of course they buried him in a mass grave, and then once the 28 freed black men took all the bodies out and gave them a proper burial in that same place, they painted a fence around the grave site where they reburied them, and and then they wrote on the fence martyrs of the race course over the archway crafted in the entrance, and all that means that these are the guys that died in our behalf. So that's all that really means. So as I said before, this had never been done before, but what happened is once it was done, even the white soldiers so appreciated the symbolism and the commemoration of those soldiers, because it was both black and white soldiers that were buried in the mass grave. They all came. They called them lower tier. Well, it just means they didn't have a lot of money. Lower tier white soldiers and black soldiers. Oh, I'm sorry, not lower tier. They called them low country planter or planter class. And so they all came and memorialized them. About 7,000. That's a big deal back in that day to have 7,000 people in one place. Now today we have big arenas, and you say you have 7,000 people show up. That don't sound like a whole bunch of nothing. And today, by today's standard, but by that standard, that was a big deal. So as we move on from that story, at first they called it a celebration. Then they eventually called it Decoration Day, which is interesting. And it is just the same thing. And now we know it as Memorial Day. So there's some interesting things to understand in this. Now, as a matter of fact, let me just say this, put this in here. Now, there is a memorial to this commemoration, the first Memorial Day in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, something that's been recently erected, and I don't know how long ago. I thought it was in 2000. I don't want to give you a bad date. But here's the question that we need to consider. And it's like this with all American history, and we understand that. That would be the reason why our current president and his cronies don't want certain education in schools, and they're trying to make it law again. It's like we're going in circles in a lot of ways, because back in the day, first of all, black Americans, we weren't allowed to read or become educated for hundreds of years. Now, some of us broke the mold and broke out and were able to read, and we talk about those historians like the George Washington Carvers and people like that. But by and large, our race at that time was fully uneducated during the slave years. So, there's a quote that says, "Whoever has the power writes history." So think about that for a moment. Who's ever in power writes history. So when you think about that, you have to understand, why is this not known? See, that's the question. The question becomes, why don't more people know about May 1st, 1865? Because that's when it happened, May 1st, 1965. So I asked you, why do you think it didn't happen? But I got an answer for you. So there's this thing called the myth of the lost cause. The myth of the lost cause. Now, what this is an ideology. So this ideology attempts to paint the Confederate cause in a more positive light. Because see, after slavery, even though we after chattel slavery, we dealt with another type of slavery, but that's a show for a different day. There's this myth. So what you try to do, you try to clean up what was dirty. That's what the myth of lost cause is. You try to paint this ideology that attempts to paint that the Confederate class was not that bad. It's the same ideology that makes people think that slavery wasn't that bad. Well, it's not really that bad. You're getting 3 meals a day. Bob, you're getting 3 meals a day. Even though you're getting beat, you're getting raped, you're getting maimed, you're not. You can't get no education. You can't fend for your family. Your family can get took from you at any time. So remember that. Look that up, the myth of lost cause. So what you try to do is you try to paint over the old paint. But any good painter knows when you paint a building, you have to put down, I lost it. What's that called, Bobby? You put down over the wall before you paint?
Masking tape?
No, not the masking tape. The actual it's a paint that you put.
Primer.
The primer. Thank you. Every good painter knows that when you paint over paint, especially paint that has deep color, you have to primer the wall first. Mm-hmm. So what's happening now is these histories are starting to bleed through. These histories that we didn't know nothing about, because they were put in a myth of lost cause. So they tried to repaint over the old paint, but they didn't use primer. Mm. So now the old paint is starting to seep through. And you just say, wait a minute, this ain't the original color of this car. This ain't the original color of this wall. Mm-mm. I can see right here. This room used to be blue. This room used to be yellow, and that's what that looks like. So, one of the purposes of making it make sense, and one of the purposes of me even getting a degree in African and African American studies and going on and moving up the academic ladder from there, was for this reason right here. One is to bring light to these ideologies and these myths of lost cause, that all we did was be enslaved and we were docile and we didn't do nothing. One thing people don't really talk about it, as we were in chattel slavery, is that slave masters dealt with revolt constantly. It was a huge issue. Even in slavery times, nobody wants to be a slave. People are going to fight to be free, a fight to make their own way. Mm-hmm. So even then we did that, and we still did it now. And so this is one of the reasons why this lost cause and this epidemic took over the Southern memory. So after a while, people stopped talking about the first celebration in May 1st, 1865. They just start calling it Memorial Day. So once you give something a central theme, it kind of it can and you don't give the central theme with its history or with its foundation. It starts to be obliterated publicly. That's kind of what it does. That's kind of what happens when you give someone a day and you don't give them the reason for the day, or you give them a history and you don't question the history or even ask for the foundation of why this history exists. It becomes obliterated after a while. It's like it didn't happen. But as I said earlier, they didn't put primer on those walls, and our history is starting to bleed through. So that's important to understand. So this type of history stays hidden for a long time, because what it does, it doesn't note our involvement in American history, and it's often a race to create a more favorable version of events. Which that is see, one thing you have to understand about history. America, we still fight our original sin, which is slavery. So we don't want to recognize it, and then we don't want to even recognize even through those group of people going through this horrendous, inhuman time and chattel slavery. 400 years later, we still fight the fight. So we got to understand that we have to first bring light to the things that we've done and that we are currently doing, because we are a part of a history of American history in particular, as much as anybody else. I know, a lot of people like calling themselves patriots. That's one of those words. That's one of those key words that people call themselves. Patriot. I'm a patriot. But I would say that the people that built America on the backs of free labor are the real patriots. When you want to talk about them slaves, they're the real patriots of this economy. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm just pulling information out of the air. I'm gonna even give you a source to go to look at it. There's a book. It's called Race and Reunion: The Civil War in American Memory, and it's a story of the Civil War. But it talks about this. This isn't the only book that talks about it. I'm just giving you one source to get you started. If you're interested in pursuing this even further, but so, as I said, it's important to bring light to these situations. So it was in 2017 in Charleston when they erected in what's called Hampton Park. There's a site of the former race course, and it's the official state historical marker commemorating the first Memorial Day. So if you're interested, in the next time you're in Hampton Park in South Carolina, go by there and check out the memorial commemoration of Memorial Day. I tell you what, it has a lot more to do with us than we think. Even as a kid, when I would see certain statues, it was interesting. It was nice. They built it beautifully. But I didn't have any context to go with it, Bobby. I didn't have no context. So what I needed was context so I could understand how it fits for me, not just for anybody. So when you don't have the context, that's when you lose history.
You lose a lot of history like that. Growing up, I saw a lot of buildings that I didn't really realize that they were Confederate racist Ku Klux Klan buildings.
That's right.
I didn't even know. We would go in them and sometime and come out and just look at them and keep on
They
moving.
just keep on moving. It wasn't a big deal.
With no big deal.
Even when you talk about the rebel flag.
It was black folks sometime putting those flags on their car.
Oh yeah. I remember watching the Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard and all
Man,
of that.
I used to
man. Come
love
on.
the General Lee.
Come on,
See, I didn't
man.
understand that the General Lee was
Oh,
a general,
man,
was a
come on.
Confederate. I didn't.
All them was, man, Klansmen and
Yeah.
racists and stuff. Come on.
Yeah,
That was a racist show.
it sure was.
We didn't even realize how racist it was.
We didn't, Bobby.
Boss Hog and all of that.
Boss
Come on,
Hog,
man.
the whole thing.
The whole thing. Yeah.
And I love that show, Bobby.
Oh, man, we did.
Yeah.
But we were mentally conditioned to love it.
We mentally could, because you know what? Now you understand the myth of lost cause. You paint a picture and make it prettier than what it actually is, or was. So,
Or what it stands
or
for.
what it even stands for. That's so crazy that, I mean, I love the Dukes of Hazzard.
Man, I wish I had one of them. What was Roadrunner or something like that?
Yeah,
Charger, Dodge Challenger,
it
or
was a
something.
Charger, I believe.
Charger, one of them. Yeah.
Man, I love that show. Man, that's so interesting. So now I wanna join what we just talked about, the Memorial Day deal, and I want to move over just real quickly over to the Statue of Liberty. See, it doesn't get more American. It's two things that are really American.
It was given to us.
That's right. It was given to us by France. It was given to us by France. And there is nothing more American. Two symbols. Memorial Day, where we commemorate our soldiers, which we should. And but that and the Statue of Liberty. And what people don't even know, and they hesitate to accept why we received the origins of the Statue of Liberty, what the origins of the Statue of Liberty is, and why it was even given to us. See, a lot of the inspiration of the Statue of Liberty was due to France basically congratulating the United States for abolishing slavery.
That's what it was all about.
That's what the Statue of Liberty was really all about.
But we don't even understand that.
We
We
don't
don't even know that history.
Yeah. See, what people don't know, if you look at the Statue of Liberty closely, you will notice that it has chains on it. I think it's on his feet, on her feet, and I can't remember if it's on her hands or not. I haven't looked at the picture recently. Because that was commemorating the United States abolishing slavery. And I know a lot of people, I know a lot of Americans kind of get upset because they don't like that. They want to think it's about immigration only. So, I mean, that's even a slap in the face of what immigrants are going through today. Because, United States represents this country you can go to. And if you work hard to make your own way, Bobby, you can have your piece of what? The American pie. Look, is it sweet potato pie? Is it liver meringue? What kind of pie is it?
Man, very few pieces people get that piece of pie.
Yeah.
That's so minority of African American people
That's right.
who live that kind of life.
That's right. That's right. Live that kind of life.
We don't manufacture the mint,
That's right.
which manufactures the money.
That's right.
You got to understand that.
Mhm.
It's not ran by African American people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe couple of them work there,
Yeah.
but
They're not the decision
they're not the decision
makers.
makers of that money.
No, they're not the
And where it goes and,
That's right.
and whose hands it get into.
And whose hands.
It's running as we speak right now.
Mm-hmm.
It never stops.
Producing that money.
Producing that money.
So so what have we done with the Statue of Liberty? We've used that same theory, that same ideology, and we've washed it, and we've made it look prettier. But that's what the commemoration of the Statue of Liberty was originally for. It didn't have initially it becoming a sign of immigration came later in its history. Its original history was about France congratulating the United States of getting rid of slavery. Wow. Well, I know. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. Yeah, kind of just swallow it. Just swallow it in little pieces. You know, you ain't got to swallow it all at once. Just sip a little bit. Treat it like hot tea. Just sip on it a little bit until it all gets in your system and it makes you feel a little better. So, we're going to take a quick commercial break because I want you guys to sit on that a minute. And remember, if you have any questions or any statements, please give us a call here at the studio. That number is 918-856-3873. That's 918-856-3873 at Eden Media Studio. We'll be right back with Make It Make Sense.
This is KBOB 89.9 FM, Tulsa. And now streaming 24/7 live from the Eden Media Studio. 24/7 live at KBOB899.com. The 36th Street North Event Center is proud to kick off another great season of social gatherings with family and friends. And no matter what the size of your next event, the 36th Street North Event Center has you covered. From event decor to live DJs, even catering, and a world-class sound and lighting system, 36th Street North has your event covered. We offer a state-of-the-art event booking and planning process from start to finish. And whether you're hosting 100 or 1,000, 36th Street North Event Center is the premier event center of North Tulsa, located at 1125 East 36th Street North. Share the experience at 36th Street North Event Center and see why we are the number one choice for upscale events. From weddings to birthdays, corporate functions, holiday parties, and so much more. Visit us today at 36theventcenter.com or call and reserve your spot at 918-200-9046.
Family and Children's Services and Morton Health Services are excited to announce our new location at 240 East Apache is now open. We're bringing mental and medical health services together all under one roof. We can help with transportation to the clinic and with center care enrollment. Offices are open from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and walk-ins are welcome. So come by in person or call to make an appointment at 918-587-9471. Your next step is to be here.
Hey, it's Alfred Woodard. When I'm in Tulsa, I keep it on KBOB. That's how I find out what's really happening. KBOB 89.9 FM.
Hey, welcome back to Make It Make Sense with your boy Emanuell Lewis. We are giving a historical perspective on Memorial Day and how it was invented first by 28 freed black American slaves. Freedmen, slaves that were freed, and they were also soldiers. Let me make sure I make that make sense, because I said two different things at once. So, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about how Memorial Day was started in 1865 by 28 freedmen who were also soldiers to commemorate the 257 soldiers that were died in a mass grave in South Carolina. So, going forward, I'm kind of going to how Memorial Day has evolved a little bit. So, I don't want to. This story isn't to spoil anybody's Memorial Day. But what we have to do is we have to speak truth to power, or truth to history. And we have to give it context so that we understand the full story. And this time, let's not leave nothing out. Let's give the complete story of these men who have made this commitment to their fellow soldiers, and now we have what's called Memorial Day. So when we're dealing with a Memorial Day, as I said earlier, it's quintessential. It's a quintessential American holiday because we use that to commemorate soldiers, mainly from the Civil War, but it's now expanded. So we use Memorial Day for any soldier who have passed or who has done service in any war now. But we have to understand the origin is crucial that we have all the facts. Americans, we have to get way more conscious in an effort to recognize the role of slavery in our holiday histories, and the role of black people, African Americans, or whatever you choose to call yourself, in how we help mold America. We were not sitting on the sideline. That's what you have to understand. We weren't passing out. We are not the water boys of American history. We were on the front lines of American history. We've built this place. So it's important that everybody gets their proper recognition and their proper due. So that when we look at Memorial Day from a historical context, that it makes Memorial Day even a greater day. Because remember, it doesn't negate any association that you have with Memorial Day. If you have Memorial Day for those, for your ancestors who have went before you, use Memorial Day for that. If you're using Memorial Day to commemorate soldiers who have served in any of the armed services, use it for that. If you want to commemorate Memorial Day for its original meaning, which was the soldiers that were put in the mass grave after the Civil War, celebrate it that way. Like I said, still go out there and fire up your grill, let the kids run around, give them some bubbles, play some games. Just love on each other. Just love on your family. Because you never know the next person that you'll be memorializing. And that's important to understand. So, we just want to recognize and give honor to those Union soldiers, those 28 Union soldiers. First, the ones who died in the mass grave, fighting for what we have now, or fighting for their families. See, it's interesting. We don't know what their thoughts was for fighting. Some were fighting maybe so we can have what's America today, if that's the history you want to ride with. Some people were fighting for their families. Others of us were fighting to just be free, with no promise of the future, with no promise of being landowners, with no promise of getting a real job, with no promise. See, that's the African American story. See, a lot of them were freed, but they had no promise of anything. No promise of benefits from being a soldier. No promise that Uncle Sam would take care of them because of their service. See, when you talking about the poster child of giving your life and not getting nothing for it, you talking about the African American experience. And I think that's what people want to put on a shelf. We want to paint it all as pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But you can't pull your bootstraps up if they won't even sell your boots. So you can pull them up. See, Bob, they got to sell you some boots first so you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
They got to say
They got to sell you a little something. So So, and by all means, celebrate this day. Enjoy this day. I know things seem a little crazy around you, but that's when we have to ask for a little spiritual guidance and understand why we're celebrating this day. Because this day is for everybody. Even though African American men started, it's not just for African Americans, it's for everybody. It's for people that served. But understand that we were there. We were the first. I know people don't, people struggle with that. Their stomachs start hurting. But we was the first. Just eat it. Sometimes it's bitter to the tongue, but it's sweet to the stomach. So just eat it. So to kind of pull all this together, I just want, as we talked about, I just want to give you a little piece of more history, and then we're going to close this out, and then we're going to see if we make some sense today. If we made some sense of this. So, when we talk about Memorial Day, we're talking about 28 free black soldiers in 1865 who actually wanted to commemorate 257 Union soldiers that died in the Confederate camp. So when they died, the Confederate Army put all of those soldiers in a mass grave. They were there, so they no respect for them. And so it just shows the amount of respect, the amount of character, the amount of integrity that they had. They just stuck them in a mass grave and buried them. So 28 black men said, this is not right. This is not right. I fought beside some of these men. I know some of those men in there. So they commemorated them. How did they commemorate them? They dug up. I want you to think about the work, how much work this is. They dug up the mass grave. Now, first of all, how big is a mass grave with 257 people in it? This ain't no weekend job. And they didn't have electric cranes that can come through there and dig up the most of it, and then we can kind of when it get closer to the bones, we can kind of dig it out ourselves. They took it upon themselves. Here's what I like. Nobody told them to. And they didn't ask nobody. Can we do it? They woke up, made a decision, and they did it. So sometimes life is like that. There's really a principle in that. You can't ask for everything. Some decisions you make in life, you just got to go do it. And don't ask nobody's permission. Or don't ask nobody what they think. If it's burning in your heart to do, go do it. Bobby, anybody tell you to make Eden Studios? Or did you just do it?
I just did it. I had a vision, and I said, well, man, look, I'm going to start this radio station. And it was in another location. Little bitty one room. You just walk right off into the room. Into the studio. It wasn't no lobby or nothing,
Right.
It wasn't as big as this right here where we're at. Started off with a laptop and 2 computers. Well, 1 computer, really. The other one didn't halfway work. And that's what it was. Just do it.
Now, how long ago was that, Bobby?
That was 2015.
2015.
When I first started. I wasn't even on the FM radio yet.
Yeah.
That people are listening to right now.
Right.
I wasn't. I was just internet and had one show, the Bobby Eaton Show. You know what I mean? That's what I had. That's it. One laptop, two microphones, and the Bobby Eaton Show
And the Bobby show.
on the internet. That was it.
And you going all day. Was you going all day?
No, I
How
wasn't
you-
even going all day. I was just going in the evening time, but I was going 5, 6 days a week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
going.
So,
But I don't do that no more.
no. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, you got to change.
I don't
You
even
gotta-
have the Bobby Eaton Show no more. Special occasion.
So let Bobby's story be a reminder to you. You can't ask sometimes. Sometimes you just got to go do.
Consistency.
And be consistent. That's the key.
That's my favorite word, consistency.
consistency.
Everybody who know me, they know that that's Bobby's favorite word, consistency.
Consistency.
That's it. Consistent.
Consistency is how you earn anything in life. It's how you earn education. It's how you become good in sports. It's how you become good in business. It's how you become good in anything you put your hands to. You put your hands on it and you stay consistent. And if you selling pies, you need to be known as the pie lady or the pie man.
You need to be the pie lady, pie man.
Yeah, that's right. So when people think sweets, they immediately think of you. That comes from what? Consistency.
Consistency.
Consistency. You did it so long, everybody know that you the pie lady. or
You the pie lady. You
That's
know.
right. That's the pie lady. Everybody ain't remember your name.
Pie lady got to have good marketing.
Gotta have good marketing.
Good marketing and sales.
That's right.
You know,
That's-
they know, oh, man, that's the pie lady over there.
Yeah.
Call this number.
Yeah.
Call in. She'll bring you a pie.
Yeah, she'll bring you a pie. She'll get you a pie. She'll get you a birthday cake, an anniversary cake.
With ease.
And no problem at all.
I want a peach cobbler.
Yeah. So that principle reigned in those 28 black soldiers. And they created what we call today Memorial Day. And then it became so big because I told you at the after they did that, the next gathering was like 7,000 people were there. So it started becoming so big that in just 3 years, in 1868, the Union General John A. Logan issued General Orders Number 11. And what that order did, on May 30th, the last Monday of every May, it became a national day of remembrance. But remember, it still wasn't until 1971 where it became an actual federal holiday. But it has been a national day of remembrance since 1868. Started by a group of men who didn't ask for permission. So, as this day remains popular, you're out playing with the kids, you're at the water park, you picnicking. Enjoy your picnic. Eat them sandwiches. If y'all was real Americans, y'all have brought me and Bobby a couple sandwiches because we over here, we ain't ate nothing, we hungry.
I'm hungry.
They're hungry. Ain't nobody brought us no sandwiches, nothing. We up here working while y'all out barbecuing and tanning and enjoying
Yeah,
yourself.
bring me a rib.
Yeah. Bring rather a rib or a sandwich or some
Potato salad or
yeah,
something.
cabbage or something. Give me something.
Ooh, man, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I didn't
hungry
talk
right
my
now.
way in the hungry.
Bring
So-
a brother a plate.
Yeah, see y'all take. Hey, somebody bring Bobby. Y'all take care of Bobby OG Eaton,
It's okay.
and take care of me too, cause I'm his cousins, brother,
Cousin.
aunties, boyfriends, homeboy. So, yeah, so I feel like Trump today on Memorial Day. That was my statement I made in the beginning. Because it did me well to go back and remember who and what started Memorial Day. And now I can celebrate it with even more vigor because I know of those 28 black men. So I hope we made it make sense today because that's what we was trying to do. So we'll see you guys next Monday. Y'all know how we do. It's gonna be the same back time, same back channel. It's be your boy Emanuell Lewis coming back next week with Make It Make Sense. Y'all enjoy your holiday. Have a great week. Thank you for joining Make It Make Sense. If you have any additional questions,